Yeah. Okay. So good morning, everyone. This is Arun. I'm the trainer for Informatica Cloud. And the agenda for today's demo session is I'll be able to provide you an overview about IICS, what is Informatica Cloud, what are the different components of Informatica Cloud, and we will discuss about iPaaS solution. What is iPaaS? What are the different features of iPaaS? And I'm going to cover few things about cloud terminologies, and we'll discuss about architecture, runtime environment, secure agent, and how do we get started. So before I proceed, I'd like to know if you are from any one of you are from Power Center background here, Informatica Power Center background. Are you from Power Center background? Any one of you? No problem. So yeah. So moving on to the next slide. So what is Informatica Cloud? Informatica Cloud is an on-demand subscription service that would provide a complete platform for integration and data management. So this is a one-stop solution where you can integrate your sources and you can load into different targets, be it on-premise or be it on cloud. You'll be able to provide some kind of data integration templates, and you can run your jobs. You can load your data, and it provides an ability to create and configure your connections, users, run your schedules, and you monitor your tasks. So we'll discuss about all this in detail. So the components of the cloud are like runtime environments and Informatica Cloud Secure Agent, organization, and connections. So what are these runtime environments? The runtime environments are typically, kind of a messenger kind of a service which would integrate your jobs, which would ensure your jobs are being loaded. Yeah, it will talk to your different components, like, it can have your source and target and pull your data from source and load into target. And Informatica Cloud Secure Agent, there's something, it's a lightweight program, it's an it's a software that is within the respective organization, where when we enroll to an cloud license, you get something called organization, which is similar to a domain in Power Center. And we also need the connections. Connections are needed for establishing, to if you like to talk something, if you'd like to import something from a flat file or an Oracle database, or if you want to talk to an instance, like if you want to establish a connection between your AWS instance, EC2 instance, or Snowflake, you need to have a connection. So before I get into the details, I need to explain you about what is iPaaS. So what is iPaaS? iPaaS stands for Integration Platform as a Service. So we have different types of services, right? Platform as a service, we have, software as a service, we have integration platform as a service, and there are other types of services in the market. So iPaaS is something, which is a suite of cloud services enabling your development, execution, and governance. Uh, so you have different types of processes, services, and applications where you'll be able to connect to multiple organizations or individual organizations. So iPaaS stands for Integration Platform as a Service. So where you access it from any machine, any browser, you just have to launch your application using a browser, using a UI. You just provide your credentials, and you'll be able to log into an application and perform your data integration. So IICS platform, IICS as in like Informatica Intelligent Cloud Services. It's a platform with multiple toggle switch wizards. So what is toggle switch? You can toggle around multiple services. Like, you have a design, we have a monitor, we also have something called, operational insights, and, you have a data integration and administrator service where you perform different levels of functionalities where limited to an administrator, or it can be limited to a group of team of developers, or you may be having someone from operations team just to monitor your jobs. And you also have a centralized monitoring capabilities to ensure the jobs are running accurately and you can verify the job results. And there are pre-configured integration templates for recurring business use cases. Okay, so any questions from anyone on iPass? So these are different cloud terminologies. I just wanted to flash it on the screen. We need not get into the details of all this, but you get to hear a lot about these terminologies like, add-on connectors, administrator, you have a task flow, and, we have a replication task. There are so many terminologies in Informatica Cloud. You get to hear a lot about this. Connections, hosting facility, Informatica Cloud Secure Agent, a Secure Agent Manager, Cloud Secure Agent, hosting, Informatica Cloud Hosted Agent. So there are so many terminologies. So I'll get on to the architecture part of it. I'll just explain you how the architecture would work. So we have a user who logs into a machine. You have a user here. One second. A user logs into a machine and through a web client, and he performs the design and administration functions. So what does it do? He logs into a machine and he does some jobs. He import the source and he can perform some kind of transformations and load into target. Then this will be sent to Informatica Cloud Services, which is a multi-tenant repository. You see that there are multi-tenant repositories here, which is hosting the metadata. So there is a firewall here. If you look at this, this is called a firewall of an organization. You have a secure agent, which is sitting behind the firewall of any organization. This is a customer managed secure agent, which is also called a local secure agent, which can be hosted on a Windows machine or a Linux machine. So you have a customer managed secure agent where you have your connections, your encryption related information, your logs, your data that you're running, right? It can be your flat files, or it can be your own database that you want to connect. You can have a connection and you can establish a connection. You can have this run through a secure agent. And this is your Informatica vendor managed microservices. It is based on a microservices architecture where all these services uh, that you see, right? When you exchange the metadata, when you're loading your data, it's not the actual data that is getting loaded. It's only the metadata that gets exchanged to Informatica Cloud multi-tenant repositories. So you have an Informatica managed cloud runtime secure agent and a process server. And it also connects through to the business data, like through a HTTPS protocol. Let's say for a Workday or for LinkedIn, any external cloud applications. And it happens through a proxy, and we also can enable your SAML sign-on, which is a single sign-on. And it can also connect to your local databases like Siebel or Oracle or SQL Server. So this is how the architecture would work, where you perform different functionalities, where a user logs into a browser, he logs into a web client, and your on-premise data on applications. Is that clear? Any questions on this from anyone? Any questions on the architecture? I hope it is clear to you. If you have any questions, please ask. Okay. So this is just a further, uh, you know, further enhancement to that architecture. I just explained you about, where you have a repository, and you see this red color firewall. It's a brick, red color bricks, which is a firewall. The firewall is protecting the data of an organization because you have your own data sitting inside your organization's firewall, right? And you perform your administration designs, or you do your activities. What you do is you just provide, you have your machine, the browser, you just need a internet access, and you can access your UI, and you can connect to different databases, or you can connect to different files. You can even connect to Salesforce. You can even connect to Snowflake or AWS using that browser and the connector. So your company and your secure agent, you have your cloud-based applications and platforms. So I'm just giving an example of a Salesforce. How does this is a business data, how the metadata, the schema changes. You have your local files and databases. So this is how the exchange of the metadata happens across your local files and databases and your uh, external applications like Salesforce. Any questions? So moving on to the next slide, we will discuss about components. We have Informatica Cloud, hosting facility, runtime environment, and agent. So what is a runtime environment? You have a runtime environment containing agents. So what is an agent? Agent is a group of, you know, uh, a group of services that are enabled like a grid. In Power Center, you have a grid with multiple nodes. You have a node representation. A node is a physical, it's a representation of your own machine. You have, let's say in Linux server, right? You may have multiple nodes. You want to connect to multiple nodes. You have a grid. Similarly, agents are responsible for running your tasks. So we have a Informatica Cloud secure agent, and there is a group actually. And similarly, there is an group. So agent is something which would ensure that it would run your job and load your data into your targets. It can be hosted within your organization's firewall, or it can even have a license for hosting at Informatica vendor, which is called Informatica hosted agent. And Informatica Cloud Secure Agent is something which is hosted within the organization's firewall, which is also called a local secure agent. So why do we need a secure agent? We need a secure agent because it is kind of an integration service, which would ensure your jobs are being processed, and it is loading your data. It can show you the details. It can show you the logs. It can it can display your results if it is success, or if it is failure, or if it is giving you a warning or any kind of status, right? You need a secure agent for it. Okay. So moving on, the architecture and the security model. So on top of what I've explained, right? You also have an security model which is based on data center infrastructure security and IICS internal platform security. So you have a customer who logs in. All he needs is an internet, and he connects to the IICS services, and this is how it would work. And there is a role-based access controls, which is called RBAC. Role-based access controls with different levels of role assignments. You have a single admin. You may have multiple developers or multiple designers. You also have service consumer. So if you look at this, right, uh, the roles, if you look at the roles and, the resources, or they're called assets, they have different set of permissions and privileges. Like an admin can do everything. He can configure security, he can set up the environment, he can run a task, he can run a task flow, he can run a process, he can take care of the API based executions, and he can even view the job results. So there are different levels of privileges and permissions for an administrator, who is also called a super user, okay, who can perform everything. Now, if I come to a designer or a developer can do what? He can create a task, You can run the task flows. You can create a process. You can run the processes. You can perform API-based executions. You can view the job results. So there are limited functionalities of a designer again, not compared to what they are for an admin. Lastly, for a service consumer, is kind of an operator role where you can perform API-based executions and you can just view the job results, right? So there are three different set of roles, and we can do a different set of assets. We can define this assets and permissions at your own organization level. So how do we get started now? I mean, like getting started is important, right? How do we get started? What is important for you to understand this? Okay, so we need to create an organization and the hierarchy, and you need to configure the properties. You need to ensure the organization is about having the licenses. You need to install and configure your secure agent and the group. You need to set up users and user groups and download and configure connectors. These are the different steps to get started. So what is important for us to understand is we need to enroll to a free trial account, right? How do you enroll to a free trial account? Before I go there, uh, I'll just explain you on what are the prerequisites, right? What would be the prerequisites for you to learn this course? So prerequisites as in like, if you're not from Power Center background, that is absolutely fine, because even if you're not from Informatica background, this is an easy course to learn. And what you need is, you just need to install your Oracle 19c database. Like, you need to have your 19c database on your machine, on your laptop, and create a schema. For example, Infa data is a sample schema, where I'll be providing you that schema, where you can just import the schema and flat files for your practice, right? You can, I'll be giving you the flat files for practice, and sign up to a Salesforce account. And you need to have good understanding of the basic SQL queries. And if you are coming from Power Center background, Informatica Power Center background, that would be an added advantage. Easy course to learn. Even if you are fresher and you are trying to get into the IT with this course, this is a very good course to learn. And you can learn this course in 4 weeks. And you can also have a free trial Snowflake account, an AWS account, where I'll be providing you one scenario for loading the data into S3 bucket. So these are the prerequisites for learning IICS. Any questions from anyone? Okay. So I've just put it that, those things in this chat. I've just put what are needed for you to get started. Okay, now I'll explain it to you. How do you enroll to a free trial account? You just you have to go to Google and just type Informatica Cloud. Okay, Informatica Cloud Data Integration free trial account. Okay, just type this. Go to free 30-day trial Cloud Data Integration. Okay, and you just have to provide your name, like ABC. Just provide your name and the title, and do not provide your work email. Just give your Gmail ID, and do not check this box. If you check this box, you can't use this mail ID again after 30 days. So just uncheck this box. Use my email address as my username, and you give a different username. For example, you want to give a username as dev1, right? And just provide dev1 as username. Give your just random, just give any number, doesn't matter. And your, just organization can be something like free, just put free. Okay. Provide your state details and your You just provide your details and just select your data center as North America. This is fine. And just select these two and just click on start your free trial. That's it. Once you click on this, once you provide all the details and just click on this details, right? You would be getting a mail to your mail ID. You'll be getting a mail to your mail ID to activate your account. Okay, just verify me now. So I've just enrolled to a free trial account yesterday. So I got a mail this way where I get a username and login URL. Okay, this is my login URL. You just have to verify this. Once you verify it, you'll be able to log in. Okay, so I'm logging on to the UI now, which is m-usinformaticacloud.com, and you'll be getting 4 different services as part of your free trial account. So you need to click on the administrator page, administrator service. Okay, and the first thing what you have to do is you need to download a secure agent. Okay, you have your organization, licenses, SAML setup, you have all these details. Click on runtime environments. And I've already downloaded my secure agent. So you can see that, I just renamed that secure agent to local secure agent group and local secure agent. So how did I get this? I've downloaded my secure agent. Click on download secure agent, copy that install token, and you'll be getting, when you download this, you'll be getting this something like, agent install, something like this, right? You get this agent 64 install, and you need to run with your administrator privileges. You need to be an administrator on your machine. Okay, and you need to just provide your install token, and you can have your secure agent up and running. So once I click on the secure agent, you'll be able to see there are 4 different services here, which is called data integration server, mass ingestion, OI data collector, common integration components. All these services have to be up and running. Okay, is this clear? So I'll guide you on this installation, and if you are stuck somewhere, probably we can look into it and make sure these services are up and running. This is how you configure and you install your secure agent. So now I'm into administrator service, right? This is my service where I can see the services which are configured. Now, if I have to go to my data integration, I need to click on this arrow, right click, open a new tab. I'm opening data integration. Okay, this is called data integration. So my data integration, this is a service where I need to actually start creating jobs, and I can run my jobs. I can create my own projects and folders, and I can start working on my development. Okay, you'll see this is a dashboard, and you can see in the explore page, you'll be having a default project. You can click on new project. Just provide IICS training web batch. That's my project name. So I just click on save. And in this project, I can create a folder again, saying as training. Okay, click on save. Now the folder is created. Now inside the folder, I can start working on creating a job. But before I create a job, I need to have the connectors, right? Without having a connector, I can't create any job. What are the connectors that I need? I need to create a flat file connection, or I need to create an AWS connection, or I need to create a database connection. I need to have my Oracle connection created, or my flat file connection created. So how do I create a connection? So for example, for this demo purpose, I'll just create a flat file connection. So when I click on connection, let's say if I just give connection underscore flat file, okay, and this is a flat file connection. You need to provide your type as flat file, and then your runtime environment as your local secure agent group. And then you need to provide the path where you have your local files. So where are my local files? My local files are in my D drive. D drive in the secure agent there. Secure agent, apps, data integration server, data, and there is a folder I created called training. So under training, I have a lot of files, which are my text files or CSV files. I have XML files, I have JSON files, a lot of files. Okay, so this is the path I need to provide for my flat files connection. Is that clear? Understood?
Sorry,
Clicking on browse. Sorry.
sorry for interrupt. What the fat files means? Like that's where the files store in that, right?
Yeah, wherever the files are located, you provide that path so that you can you can read and you can write to that location. The secure agent will talk to that path, ensure they're being read properly and being written to that location as well.
Okay.
Okay, and the date format is just default. You can leave it as it is. Provide UTF-8 and click on test connection. So when I click on test connection, what it happens is the secure agent what I configured, will ensure this connection is valid. How does it ensure? If my secure agent is up and running, then only it will establish the connection. And you should be getting a prompt on the top saying the connection is successful. The test for this connection is successful. Click on save so that you can save your connection. You have your flat file created. If I go back to connections again, I can see one connection created. Understood? Okay. Now, if I go back to my data integration, right now I have my project, I have my folder created. Now I want to create a demo job. I mean, just a test job, right? So what I need to do, these are called assets. Whatever that you're seeing, right? The tasks, mapping tasks, synchronization tasks, masking, replication, power center, data transfer. These are called different tasks. When I click on mappings, I can create a mapping. This mapping can be used in one of your mapping tasks. Click on create. So when I click on create, I get a default source and target shapes. These are called source and target shapes. Where you have a source component, you also have a target component. So I can just click on this mapping and just provide m underscore demo customer data load. I'm just giving a demo of customer data. Now this is my source. When I click on the source, I get a option to maximize and minimize. Okay, I get maximize and minimize. So when I maximize this, I have a source here. I can rename that to source underscore customer central and go to my source again. Now I can choose my connection, which is my flat file connection. You get type as single object or multiple objects. Click on select. When you click on select, this is with the help of the connection that I have, it is taking me to the path where I have my flat files. Okay. So let's say I'll select my customer central file, customer central.txt. I'm selecting that file. Just click on OK. And I can even preview the data. When I click on preview data, this is going to show me the data with the number of rows in that file. Okay, this is going to show me the preview. And I just have to save this. So I've imported my source. Now I've imported my source. When I click on fields, you'll be able to see all the fields here, part of that file. Understood? And then I have a target now. Okay, I have a source. Now I need to load to my target. Go to my target and then again, maximize this. Click on the same flat file connection. Click on select. So when I click on select target, I have two options here. One is that I can create an existing target. I can choose an existing target, or I can create new at runtime. Just like, creating a dynamic target, where there is separate thing called dynamic file name, but we are using a static file name for now. For example, target customer demo.csv. I'm just giving a random name, target customer demo.csv. The CSV is a comma separated value I'm giving. Just click on OK. So when I select create new at runtime, what happens? I don't have to worry about field mapping. There is something called field mapping. What is field mapping? Field mapping is you're mapping the fields from source to target. Okay, where you take your fields from source, map it to the appropriate fields in the target. I'll explain it to you in that scenario when we start our training. But for today, for the demo purpose, we just create a dynamic or just a create new at runtime. Okay, so the fields will get auto populated. The fields will get auto populated, and my mapping should be valid. Is my mapping valid or not? Yes, it is. You get a prompt on the top saying mapping is valid. Click on this. You also get a prompt mapping is valid. So this is a simple mapping I'm creating for loading my data from source to target. Okay. Now I have to run this. Okay. Before I run it, I also keep my monitor open. What is my monitor? Monitor services where I can see the number of jobs that I've run, number of jobs that are being running right now with the statistics of the data. You can even see it in your My Jobs in the data integration service. Okay, so this is a standalone mapping that I'm running. I'm not running through a mapping task. We can even run a standalone mapping. Okay, so you see that that there's nothing running right now. So when I click on this run, okay, now it will prompt me to select which agent I want to run it. I want to run it through my local secure agent. Select local secure agent, click on run. So you can see that in monitor automatically this will go into starting state, and from starting it will go to queued status. You can view the same thing in your My Jobs too. You go to My Jobs, you can see this is running right now. Just refresh this. From starting it will go to queued status, and from queued it will go to running status. So if you click on this instance name, it will give you the statistics of the job that is run with the number of rows that are being processed. Click on refresh. Okay, it's completed. You see that 2062 rows are there from my source file loaded to target 2062. You want to just go back and check it. So this is a target file, right? This is a file target customer. Okay, okay, this is the one, right? Target customer demo. Okay, and just open this. You see this file has loaded into the CSV format. Understood? All of you understood this? Okay. It's a simple demo that I just gave you. And as part of the course content, let me bring up the course content, which will be covered in the next 4 weeks. What I'll be discussing is, we'll be covering these topics with respect to cloud data integration. What is cloud data integration? And the transformations that will be covered, what will be the different connections. I can help you with the installations. And we can discuss about all these log files, creating Salesforce connection, Oracle, Snowflake, AWS, and mapping transformations, different transformations like you have your source properties, target properties, filter, joiner, expression, lookup, and aggregator, normalizer, maplet, parser, union. We have transaction control and connected, unconnected lookups, sequence and data. We have this you know parameters and variables which are different compared to Power Center. And you have the use cases for performing, in-out parameters for incremental data loading and expression macros. I'll be covering about expression macros, synchronization tasks. We have different tasks like synchronization, replication, how do you use different types of tasks, and how do you work on different task flows. Okay, we have a task flow. I'll give a quick comparison on things if you are from Power Center background, right? And Power Center against IICS, right? In Power Center, you have a mapping, right? Similarly, in IICS also you have a mapping, right? In Power Center, you have a session which will run your mapping, right? In IICS, you have a task. So in Power Center, you have a workflow which will run your sessions. But in your IICS, you have a task flow which will run your tasks. So in Power Center, you cannot run a standalone mapping, right? Which is you can run a standalone mapping here. Okay. And in IICS also you can run a task. So you can run a session alone, uh, which is part of a workflow in Power Center, but you can this is called a task flow in IICS. Now, similarly, in Power Center, you have something called domain, right? In administration console, admin console, you see there is a domain. But in ICS, you have something called organization, or in short, it is called org, which is similar like your domain, which will have the main administrative unit to perform your functions about single sign-on or licenses, whatever they're part of your and runtime environments. Everything would be part of your administrative service. You have your organization, and you have different licenses. You can provide your default email notifications, you can set up your single sign-on, you can have your users, and you have your user groups. Okay, user groups, and user roles that you can define, connections, schedules. We'll discuss about all this. Okay, so as part of my course content, you have this task flows, and we'll also discuss about hierarchy connectivity, REST API through Postman. We have hierarchy parser, hierarchy builder, and also we'll discuss about REST API. Okay, so that's about it. Any questions from anyone? Anyone has any questions?
No,
Okay.
Just one question, Arun, actually. So while
Yeah.
connecting to I mean, one of the content you mentioned about connecting to Snowflake and also to AWS S3 bucket. So you are going to provide the basics about the Snowflake and S3 bucket too, or just an idea how to connect to that?
Yeah. This is only about connectivity standpoint. We'll cover that, and you need to enable your own Snowflake account, free trial account, and AWS account. Okay,
Okay.
so that would be one of the scenario that I'll be covering for AWS
Mhm.
and Snowflake. It's going to be an extensive thing because we will be working on Salesforce, uh, Oracle, and Flatpeds throughout the training. Be covering one scenario for Snowflake and one scenario for AWS. Okay, yeah, thank you. Thanks everyone for joining this demo session, and looking forward to let's get started with the training. Thank you.